I can remember a time, maybe not exactly me remembering being in this time, but I remember a spirit. There we go. I remember an American spirit where the people here uh, resisted and wouldn't tolerate a Stamp Act tax. If that sounds familiar, you probably learned it in 7th or 8th grade history class. Uh, when we were a British colony, the British Parliament, without our representation, enacted the Stamp Act tax on us. Tax on playing cards, tea, a whole bunch of stuff. And there were liberty cries. Cries for liberty. People in the streets saying, no taxation without representation. People stood together, stood strong, rallied together. Well, not all the people, if you know our history. And here we are, in the year of our Lord, 2025, with a draft deferring chief bone spur in chief, president, threatening to invade another city, another American city, with the American military. This is not normal. When you see reporters, journalists, people on the ground acting like, well, this is, what's happening, I just want you to understand that is corporate media normalizing this. And none of this is normal. This is insane. Hey, what's up, Mel? Kevin Hawthorne, good to see you. I think South Park is playing down Trump's behavior. I did not get to see South Park's episode this week. I don't know if you did. God bless you if you did. I refuse to give Paramount Plus any of my money. And once they cut that $1 billion deal, it's funny how the White House said South Park is irrelevant, or they tried to dog South Park. And immediately I thought, didn't they just cut a $1 billion deal with Paramount Plus? Like, I don't know any TV show that's irrelevant that could score $1 billion contract. A little weird. But as soon as that deal went down, they removed South Park from HBO or wherever it was, and they strictly condensed it down to Paramount Plus. But those guys are twats, so I'm gonna wait till I find it online somewhere. But I'm dying to see it. I gotta see it. I want to see it. Yeah, there's a lot of news. I got out of work today, and work is miserable again. It's just brutal. Absolute exploitation. I always go, at least we don't make a living wage. At least they're not paying us enough. It is really difficult when, one bag of grocery is $50. It's insane. But now we have in the news today the president signing an executive order, a presidential memo, against the Supreme Court ruling 5-4 that he's saying now he's going to criminalize anyone that burns the American flag. He's going to criminalize what has been deemed free speech already by the courts. And then I saw the news of the not press conference, but him sitting in the White House, the gold house, the gold leaf, the gold plated, the gold spray painted house, whatever it is. What was he doing? He's talking about being a dictator and how he's not a dictator, he's just a very smart person. And also threatening, so I think, what is it? He wants to send troops to Chicago now. He's invaded LA, DC, now he wants to do Chicago. This is not normal, this is insane. And I would hope that's the understanding of every American. Sorry, a lot going on. I didn't even get to introduce myself. I'm Rob. I'm your official YouTube vibe coach. I'm here doing news commentary every single weekday. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join me. Join the conversation. What's up, Edward Thornton? It's almost like Ed Norton. That's what I thought your name was at first. I want to play some audio for you. I think it's only good to deprogram people a little bit. Oh yeah, and hit that thumbs up button. Do it for the algorithm. Do it so we can trump Mr. Beast on YouTube. I heard Mr. Beast is going to Kick. We'll peruse through some other news titles. Kick is a heinous platform where, like, white supremacists hang out and all that. And it's just really surreal to hear that Mr. Beast is going there. Like, anyone that still believes that dude is caring for humanity, I don't know if you've lost the plot or what, but you don't bring that much attention, money, and kids, because his audience is children, to Kick. That platform is just heinous. Done a lot of studying about it. Pandar Omkar Damodar. My apologies if I pronounce that wrong. Your opinion about India and Indians. I don't know if I've, got to experience enough to have an opinion. I know folks who have traveled there. I know it's a place we're so broke in America that traveling is kind of out of our realm right now. We're struggling with the price of eggs, but it's a place I would absolutely love to visit. From long, long ago, when I was just a young pup, and I saw in that movie, The Jungle Book, and I said, where in the world can you see Black Panthers, sloth bears, tigers, wolves? Like, the landscape of India is surreal. But the only thing I will say about India is the snakes scare me. Terrified of some. I've seen these dudes that post the videos on YouTube where they go and they'll get a snake out of an area, and the snakes are like 12 feet long. Like, all set with that. But I haven't got to go there and experience it to really develop any kind of opinion on it. Aaron Williamson, you might be broke. Well, it turns out a lot of us might be. So many of us that they voted for a fascist president who promised to bring down eggs on day one. And instead, all the prices have gone up, and now he's invading American cities using our tax dollars. I mean, this is fucking nuts. And by the way, one of the news stories, I think I overlooked it. One of the news stories, this is the turd you voted for. Jesus Christ, I really can't get over that. Well, we're going to talk about the American flag. Is this it? But this is the news story I really want to hit. Trump's D.C. occupation cost 4 times more than it would take to house the city's entire homeless population. I've talked about this many times on this live stream. I mean, I feel like I'm, speaking this to death because it's simply math. Like, it's good economics. Like, it would save us a ton of money to not send the military and criminalize people if we just house them. Like, if you're for the budget, the economy, for cleaning up streets, like, all of it is simply done by the solution in the title. Homeless people, oh, they just need a home. And we're going to get into this article, how much it's costing us. But let's go through some memes. Let's do our daily meme check. Was there anything good in Reddit today? I didn't really get to peruse Reddit. I was doing a lot of reading. Oh, I seen this on social media. I don't know what the fight was about, Wes Moore and Donald Trump, but somebody asked Grok if he could take a stab at the question. He said, did the president lie about an injury to dodge the Vietnam draft? It said Trump received 4 student deferments during the Vietnam era, followed by 1968 medical deferment for bone spurs in his heel, per official records. The diagnosing doctor's daughter later claimed it was a favor to Trump's father, who I can't read that word. Oh, favor to Trump's father without, I think that's what it says, actual spurs. Michael Cohen testified Trump's admitted faking it. Trump denies it, saying that this wasn't, the The chat's in the thing. Was legitimate but temporary. No medical record confirms it. Legitimate but temporary, right. The Bonesters were only there during the Vietnam War. Tweety, you're speaking my language. Have you been here before? Hit subscribe and notification bell. I say it all the time. Let's outlaw golf. The golf course would make a great place to build homes and a giant food bank building. 100%. But here's the thing, Tweety. Like I like to reference this book, Utopia for Realists. This is a book by Dutch historian Rutger Bregman. Very, very smart dude. I highly suggest you follow him. Where is it? It says, so, and this is page 73 of Utopia for Realists. If you're homeless, your main problem is no roof over your head. Speaking of which, in Europe, the number of vacant houses is double the number of homeless. In the US, there are 5 empty homes for each person without one. So, as much as I'm all for, using golf courses to put up public housing, we don't even need to. There's 5 empty homes for every homeless person in this country. So mathematically, we have the answer. Economically, it would save us money. It's absolutely bewildering that, the media, the politicians have normalized the wrong answers. And the other reason I say I know it's the wrong answers when they go tough on crime or now sending the military. Like, Jesus, this president needs such a safe space that he's sending the military because he's scared of big cities. And to think he's a Nepo baby coastal elite from New York, he would know that they're not ridiculous. Michael O. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining me on my farm chores again. Amazing. You're in the Pacific Northwest, aren't you? What time is it out there? It's got to be early in the afternoon. Heat of the day. Make sure you hydrate, Michael. Good to have you with us. Edward Thornton. Golf courses and cemeteries are 2 of the largest waste of prime real estate. Rodney Dangerfield, Caddyshack. I'll do you one better, Edward Thornton. George Carlin. Was it Jammin' in New York where he talks about that? I forget which episode. 128. Yeah, heat of the day. You stay hydrated while you're working out there in the farm. Gilbert, I'm just going to warn you, just watch your mouth. I'm not even going to read your comment with that stupidity. Some people just like, to indulge in others' suffering and they just mouth off, They're just kind of the worst of humanity. And I can't tell if they're just being a troll, if they're just trying to, flaunt their peacock feathers like there's some tough guys saying, bad stuff about the most vulnerable in society, people without homes. Let me just remind people, if you're making fun of people without homes, you're an asshat. Okay? If you're going to make fun of like this disabled, kids that go hungry, people with mental health or addiction problems or homeless people, if you're going to pick on them, if you're going to bully them, you are some of the worst of society. And we know why you voted for Trump, because he's accomplished nothing in his life. Every business he's ever had has failed, including casinos. So he has to pick on everybody. The only person he's been kind to was a child predator who's been locked up, or was supposed to be locked up for 20 years, because Ghislaine Maxwell. But Tweety, I was talking about, the golf courses. What's up, CJ? Good to see you. Yeah, people living with kids in cars don't want a home. But he's just mouthing off. I wouldn't believe anything he says. Don't worry about that, dude. These liars where they say like, oh, I've had people refuse it or they just wanted drugs. And it's like, yeah, that's totally every situation. As someone who's been homeless before and has a homeless brother, let me tell you, you're an asshole. Plain and simple. Go take your rubbish to Glenn Beck or Charlie Kirk or whoever the alpha male is this week and, go show off in front of them. It's so funny. People think like tough guys pick on the least. Do you not understand that in all the movies, like I thought American propaganda worked a little better, but in all the movies, like the hero wasn't the guy who beat up all the homeless people. The hero was the guy who took on the strongest, usually the powerful CEO type guy with all the money. The hero wasn't the guy who was like, let's go beat up homeless people in the street. Like, are you stupid? Or you're just not around enough other humans to know, like, the stuff you say out of your mouth is rancid. I don't know. It's horrible. And then if you start claiming that you grew up in foster homes and now make 6 figures a year, that makes you even worse. If you understand the plight of suffering and then turn around and shit on those people, you are an even worse person. So I don't know if your story is true or not, but just let me explain to you how life works. If you know the struggle and you turn around and say, let me kick the ladder out from these people, you are not liked. Like, by humanity, by Jesus. Oh, Christ. But let's get to some audio, because I got to play this for you. We got to do a little deprogramming, because we have these people who come in here with this, American psyche. They worship the Wolf of Wall Street, even though he was a guy who ripped off people who were investing in penny stocks. He wasn't going after the big firms. He wasn't going after the big fish. He was ripping off penny stocks. And these people worship him like he was some, Robin Hood figure. He's a scumbag. So we need to do a little deprogramming. So here's Mr. Jon Stewart. And this is a good ground, a baseline to start off. If you're going to watch this live stream and not, chirp about some stupid stuff, this is a good understanding for you to have coming in. Oh, hold on. I want to make sure it's got volume. Here we go.
Well, you pay for it. But when corporations fail, you pay for it. But when they succeed, it's theirs. They socialize their losses and privatize their gains. Why do we allow that?
Consider this. Wealthy people do not stash their billions in safe deposit boxes loaded with $100 bills. They don't do that. And they don't spend it all at the mall. They don't spend like crazy. No, wealthy people invest. It is investment.
Invest in what? Twitter? I know some poor investments some wealthy people have made.
That creates jobs.
The metaverse?
And economic growth.
See, this is the lie they tell you. That all this money flowing towards corporate moneyed interests is actually for your benefit. The government intervention for corporations is our free market. But government intervention for workers is socialism. And that's the reason for the socialism scaremongering. It's a false choice. To make you believe that this country has but 2 options. A socialist, authoritarian, hamburgerless Venezuelan nightmare, or accept the status quo, where large corporations benefit from government help, then use some of those profits to lobby the same government for more government help. They want you to believe that in a free market, while your wages stay low, someday the largesse will eventually trickle down. And in the meantime, enjoy watching your tax dollars help billionaires launch themselves into fucking space.
Yeah, amen to that. God, Jon Stewart, national treasure. See, there are some good things that have come out of America. Jon Stewart's one of them. But that's a good understanding. If you can grasp what he's saying, what he's putting down, if you're picking up what he's putting down, this is the place for you. Hit subscribe and notification bell. Michael, if Soulless stops by, we'll drop the Discord in there. Something with the Discord, like it will expire. I don't know why it will expire. We'll get it to you. I promise you. Because you had some good recommended reading. Wealthy people can afford to invest and not spend. Most people can't put any money aside because they're living month to month, and that's what working multiple jobs. Anani Moose, hopefully I pronounced that correct. And not only that, but to take to your point, because I've heard people like iDubbbz, and I'm trying to think who else, like these culture phenomenon people, these influencers, and I've heard iDubbbz say, the lottery is for stupid poor people. It's a tax on the poor, and I said, does anybody understand why rich people don't play the lottery? Like, it's simple. It's the answer's in the question. Like, when people say, oh, the lottery is a tax on poor people, you do understand why only poor people play it. Like, here's a hint, it's in the title of who's playing it. They're poor. So rich people don't need to play it. their generational wealth, the system that benefits them, this capitalist exploitation when you pay your workers sub poverty wages. You don't need to play the lottery. So if you ever hear that, just to comment on Anani's comment, not only can wealthy people afford to invest in things, especially assets. That's why you see corporate landlords continuing to buy up homes in our neighborhoods. And instead of those single family homes being owned by people, they're now rented. And you get your neighborhood a smorgasbord of people who can, finance that algorithmic rental trend that month. But it's also why, if anybody that says to me in person, playing the lottery is a tax on poor people, I said, well, you know why it's only on poor people? Because rich people do not need to play it. And poor people, sometimes it's their only option. They go, what else am I going to do? Work a fourth job? You can't work them all at once. You can't stack that money on top of each other. And as long as they're all paying poverty wages, we're doomed. So thank you for that comment. Investment itself can be a great thing. The type of investment that we are incentivized to engage in mainly benefits the sort of corporations that don't need the investments. By the way, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see what's in my community posts. I just shared something else I've talked about ad nauseum forever. Business Insider, which I was hesitant to see what Business Insider would actually come up with in this video. They did a whole video on private equity, how it comes in, strips corporations, Joanne Fabrics, Red Lobster. I'm trying to think. There was just another one that just closed down, Party City. Private equity buys these up, basically strips them down for parts to make money, and then leaves them, and they go bankrupt. And private equity also holds a lot of pensions, which we saw when Trump did his amazing, smart, common sense tariff stuff, and everybody lost a lot of money. We saw pensions go in the pooper. But Business Insider did a video. I shared it in my community post. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, because it is an amazing look at how garbage private equity is for America. Chief, good to see you. Good to see you, Chief. Hey, what's up, Jacob? Good to see you. Maybe Slav should have Ghislaine Maxwell watch his young daughters if she needs work release job. I don't even think that she needs to be on work release. I'm pretty sure the prison she's in, she could just come and go as she pleases. Who's that on the thumbnail of the live? Oh my God, Jacob, you must be young. See the bruising on this hand? Well, it wasn't there when he was this young. This is the guy. I wish instead of the NFT, the fungible tokens, instead of people putting his head on Rambo's body or Sly Stallone's body, I wish they would do an NFT of this. Can somebody make an NFT of, of Donald Trump like this? And this motherfucker posed for this. Like, seriously, I probably, I did a Christmas card one year where I got in a Red Sox, what's this called? Robe. I got in a Red Sox robe. I had my corncob pipe and a Christmas hat and nothing underneath. And I did a photo Christmas card that I sent to everyone. I thought it was hilarious. But that was obviously in jest. This dude's probably like, hey, Ivanka, come take a photo of me. Is that his daughter's name? Or Ivana? Whatever his daughter's name. He's like, hey, come take a photo. Have you seen the picture of him and her on his lap? This dude's a fucking menace. He's a menace. By the way, what's going on and what we're going to get into, if you haven't seen this, tweet or skeet, whatever it's called. I always thought that was weird. You know how, 5 years ago, people were like, your masks are tyrannical. This is tyranny. This government trying to make me wear a mask is tyranny. All those 2A folks, well, guess what? The government's using the military to invade our cities. Where are you? You're awfully quiet now. I thought this was the whole thing you guys talked about 2A for. I'm not one of these 2A people, but it's so funny. They're like, how dare you make me wear a mask? Invade our cities with the military? Yeah, that sounds good. All from this draft dodger. Oh, Jesus. The other thing is, you notice he wears a baseball hat in the White House? Remember when Obama wore a tan suit and people like pooped their pants? You need to sell holiday cards. Send your triple Trumper family. No, it talks about the weird crap he's said on record about his daughters. Yeah, we should dedicate a whole, we'll play the clips of it. And also a couple other memes. Look at this. Remember I told you guys about Graham Plattner? He's running for Senate in Maine against Susan Collins. And I said, I'll find out if he's legit. I wrote him. Somebody that works on his team wrote me back. They sent me links to all his social media. And then I found this today. Just curious where you stand on LGBTQIA plus rights and freedoms. And Graham, verified, Graham Plattner, said, I stand right in the fucking way of anyone who's going to try and come after the freedoms of the LGBTQIA plus community. This guy, he warms my heart. Love this man. And then I told you I got family up in Maine. Well, they found some old Reddit stuff. My family up in Maine said, yeah, this dude's the real deal. This is Graham Plattner. And I don't know if it's his high school or what yearbook. And it says, most likely to start a revolution, Graham Plattner. And you can see his old yearbook says free Kosovo, Chechnya, Kashmir, Palestine, Kurdistan, Tibet. That's Graham Plattner. If you don't know about him, I did a whole episode on him last week. You can go back and watch that. Absolutely amazing dude. So I think we're starting to find out he's legit, folks. If you're in Maine, vote for him. Jacob. Everyone say Rob's a cutie. Gilbert, do you imagine your leader on top? You guys are funny. Jason, try again tomorrow. Come back, try again. All right, guys, so I played that. I want to set some baselines, okay, before we get into the news, and we're going to get into the news that not only, what is he hiding? Look at the bruise on his hand. That don't look good. Does anybody know old people? I don't know. I've heard people talk about this. All people I love have passed on before they got the chance to get old. But that's not good, right? That's not good. Not like when he was in his, hey, look at me in this robe days. People worship him. They worship him so much, they had to Photoshop his head out and put it on somebody else's bottom because they were like gross. The other thing is I put a link, because this isn't the story we're going to talk about, but I put a link because I always reference the happiest countries in the world. I didn't find out who was number one because I got so caught up in reading that the USA has dropped this year to number 24. We've lost rank in happiest communities, and they talk about the young kids. And again, link down below if you want to read it, because we've got more important stuff to talk about. But I felt this was so important to understand that our standing within the world is dropping, and not like economic power, military might, because those things don't mean anything. Okay? They don't. What really matters is like, how are we treating our young folks? Are our old folks okay? Can everybody afford heat, eggs, gas? How many jobs are you working? And it turns out we're miserable. And here were some of the suggestions from this magazine article or online, whatever. It said, encourage community programs, shared spaces, and events that bring people together. Even small action groups like dining or community volunteering can foster connection. I 100% agree with that. We do have a Discord. Solus, if he shows up, link in the description, but I think it's expired, so I will get you guys the link. Because we do have a Discord where, you can come and share book stuff, Fortnite stuff. I have a thing called free therapy if you just need to vent. Prioritizing mental health, increase access to affordable therapy, counseling, and preventative care for young adults. when we talk about the military invading, the U.S. military invading U.S. cities by a guy who dodged the draft for Vietnam with bone spurs that weren't permanent. I don't know how bone spurs work, but they heal themselves? Does a friend's dad, who's a doctor, say, yeah, these bone spurs will last about, how long is Vietnam going to go? 6, 7 years? It would be about that long. But when we talk about the military invading and how much it's going to cost, that's our tax money. We could save that and prioritize mental health. Economic reforms, addressing housing affordability, reducing student debt, and creating stable career opportunities can ease financial stress and restore hope. This is why I'm so much for like a new green industry, Green New Deal. You know how many jobs we could create? We could be on the cutting edge of making electricity for free because of the sunshine. But I think I have a meme for this. Hold on. I think I have a meme for this. Oh, here's the meme. Here's the meme. I knew I had some. I knew I had a tweet for it. The problem with solar is we can't monopolize the sun or make it scarcer than it is. MIT Technology Review. The problem is that solar panels generate a lot of electricity in the middle of sunny days, frequently more than what's required. Oh, great. So we'd have excess? No, that would drive down prices, sometimes even into negative territory. What? We could get electric for free? Why aren't we pursuing this? But you know what? There's Trumpers, there's maggots in the chat who will be like, I like paying high electric bills. Fucking morons. They're so dumb. Regulating digital spaces. Obviously, this has been huge in the news with the Roblox schlep, Destiny, that streamer. We got a lot of work to do, folks. And I'm sorry, but invading DC and Chicago is not on the top of the list. It is just not. And also we're going to, hey, what's up, KT Liz? We're going to talk about Trump signing an executive order against the 5-4 Supreme Court ruling that allows flag burning as a form of free speech. And the dictator in chief said, I don't care what the Supreme Court said. I'm making it illegal. Which I say, if you're going to make flag burning illegal, this should be illegal too. Wearing a flag like that is more offensive than, like, it might as well be on fire at this point. If you're going to wear a flag like this, that should be way more illegal than burning one, okay? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all this. Welcome, by the way. I'm Rob. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's good to have you here. What are you doing? Where are you? How is your life? Are things going like you expected? That's not a flag. That was made. We got the defenders in the chat. Yeah, that's totally not a flag ripped in the middle. That's totally not a flag. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Do what they say. Jesus, you people. You people. And I do mean you people. What else? Oh, did you guys see this one? Might be meme of the year right here. Can we put this one on the Time cover for meme of the year? Can we put this on the cover of People magazine for meme of the year? Oh my God, this one is so fun. I don't know who made this. I don't know. But my God, bless your heart. It's the little things in life that you have to seek solace and joy and hope in, okay? Oh my God, that one's so funny. And don't forget, folks, whatever you allow your government to do to others, they will eventually do to you. This shit's so funny. Oh, I love these people. You're crying about clothing? What a pansy. Oh, just wait. If you think me crying about clothing is bad, wait until you hear about what Donald Trump is doing. He's sending the military to cities that scare him. He said, I won't walk down those streets. Nuh-uh. I know crime is down and crime isn't prevented by the police. The police react to crime. But I'm going to send the military. I'm terrified. What a puss. This was a great, I don't know if you're on TikTok. It says Salty Pickle Sucker. That's the name on TikTok. I didn't come up with it. That's her name, but I wanted to play this for you. It's a minute long, but it's good information. Oh, hold on. Again. Why is the mute button on? Oh, that's why.
Every human is religious, and every day you do acts of worship for that religion. The question is, what are you worshiping?
What are you worshiping?
The dominant religion in Western culture is capitalism, and every single day you worship to it. The god of capitalism is vengeful and narcissistic. It delivers its abuse and gaslighting in a form that makes you think that you deserve it. The saints that we have are the billionaires.
She says the saints that we have are the billionaires.
They model the good life. And
They model the good life. Now, for those of you who have hit subscribe and the notification bell and join me every single weekday when I do newsmentary, we joke about the news because the news is a joke. I am your official YouTube vibe coach because some of you guys are putting off funky ass vibes. She said the billionaires in American religion of capitalism are the saints. They modeled the good life. They worked hard. They worked 6,666 times harder than you, and that's why they got paid $100 billion last year. And if you just worked that much harder, you could too. It's not a club. This is a meritocracy. Everybody can just earn their way up.
and the proper way of accumulation and consumption, which feed
Proper way of accumulation and consumption, which reminded me, I'll share it in the community post, hit subscribe and notification bell. There was a study done showing how much the 1% and top 10% pollute compared to everyone else. And it was ridiculous. I still get really angry when I see big corporations claim they're green, but then don't hire enough staff or pay their people enough to actually implement those policies, because a company can say they're green, but if they're understaffed, nobody's recycling there. They're just throwing stuff in the trash. They're not sorting through like they say on their website, and that really bugs me because these companies could make a difference. But they're destroying not only the land that we need, but the consumers. They're destroying all of our livelihoods just to make profit short-sighted that day.
into the American dream. Part of the mythos of the religion of capitalism is the American dream.
Part of the mythos of American capitalism is the American dream, which George Carlin said, does anybody know? You have to be asleep to believe in it.
And the idea of isolationism, that the way that you live your life does not affect anyone else.
Isolationism. The way you live your life doesn't affect anybody else. Some people might subscribe to that.
Core doctrine of the religion of capitalism is to consume. To consume is to worship.
To consume is to worship.
This core doctrine says the more you consume, the more worth that you have.
The more you consume, the more worth that you have. And this is the incredible thing about that. We just got a kid in here the other day who was asking about how do I meet girls? And I see all these alpha male Tate-esque people that want to say, you know, I have the secret to living a fulfilling life and how to meet women and all this. And most of it's just material. They just show off their car because their personality is rubbish. You know, they talk to people disgustingly. Anybody that talk to you like that, never mind what you think of them, you wouldn't stay around those people, you know? You wouldn't tolerate that abuse. Maybe some of you would. I don't know. I'd hope you not. But most of their stuff is basing it in being able to, as the kids say, flex. Having a car or an apartment, a home, Nikes, stupid stuff. That's all irrelevant. Because if somebody, and this is what I was trying to tell that kid, if somebody likes you for that stuff, guess what? They don't like you. They like you for that stuff. So again, just another baseline, so people can understand. Tweety, George Carlin warned us about it. What is happening right now? 100%. 100%. Kagar, throwing a thumbs up to get this out there to more people. I appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell and join me. Because irregardless, if you've been here for a while, and some of you have, Chief, CJ, my family, Jacob, you know whether there's 2 people, 20, or 220. I'm spreading this message every day. So the maggots in the chat that, you know, I don't know what their problem is. They really want a dictator. Actually, let's listen to that clip. Donald Trump nailed them on the head. He called them perfectly. He said these people want a dictator, and they do. I've watched some psychologists online talk about how these people are lacking a strong male role model, or that they had a hole in their heart from when they were younger for a strong male role model, someone that can tell them what to do and do it with authority and present like a dominant figure as an alpha, a skibbity risma. But number one, we all know Donald is not that. He's chicken shit. He's taco. He's a liar. He's not good at much, so he's got to, you know, he's got to put out his plumage, his peacock plumage of stupidity. And you hear it and see it all the time. But there are some people that have been duped, you know, and we know that because Donald Trump also called them stupid and weak. So if he's right about this, when I'm wanting a dictator, he was right about that. And then he's just sharing his, you know, his thoughts from behind closed doors, which he probably tells people about you anyways, out in the open. He's just saying it to your face now, which that's the one thing I can respect. When he called his fans stupid and weak, which he did. You can look it up. But if you don't know, he just goes whatever way the fart blows. Like, he used to be a Democrat. You know, he'll do anything to impress people. That's his whole life. He is one of these people that has a hole in his heart because he didn't have a strong male role model who could hug him and say, you're valuable for just being you, which you are, you know? Well, some of you, if you're racist or misogynist or homophobic, you're not. Go reevaluate your life. Get the fuck out of my chat. But for most people, you're valuable. You got duped. And same with Donald. You know, his dad was a cruel, cruel individual. You can talk to or hear from his niece, Mary Trump. She has a YouTube channel. I watch her all the time. And she talks about how Donald just longing for his dad's love. And the only way he could get it or his attention was being conniving cheat, a one-upper, everything we see now. So we see the male loneliness epidemic is real, you know. It's sitting in the White House wearing a hat that says, I was right. I mean, Jesus Christ, how pathetic is that? You know, and if you don't believe me, just think if this was Obama. You guys hate Obama, right? Imagine if Obama wore a hat that said Obama was right about everything. Like, I would even be like, this fucking loser move. God, how pathetic are you? And we're going to get into some news. I think we've hit a bunch of... We've hit a bunch of the memes and things. I get to show you some stuff. So we're going to get into this. How Donald Trump is wasting your taxpayer money on a cause that he says to clean up crime and homelessness. But it doesn't work. And the proof is just in, you know, history. How they've solved it before. And it's never to send in more police. When you have a homeless problem, you have the answer right there in the words. They need homes, not police. Isn't that weird? I mean, it sounds dumb, but it works. Try it sometime, America, because we've tried everything else. And this is the other reason why I know that this doesn't work, because I've been living here long enough. I can tell you, yeah, they've done this like a bunch of times, and it never solves the homelessness problem. In fact, homelessness is getting worse. Why don't we try something new that will, listen to me, maggots, let's try something new that will save us money. Instead of sending in the military, why don't we save 4 times as much and house the homeless? So we're going to get into that. David Larson. I love when they talk about being bald. If I was bald, I would embrace it, bitch. I'm not. My hair is very, very long. Very long. My hair is very long. I feel bad for Tim Pool. Tim Pool and Andrew Tate and Donald Trump and Elon Musk, all these men who feel like they have to do gender-affirming things. Donald Trump has to comb his hair whichever way because he's bald as shit. Elon Musk, he had to get hair plugs in because he's bald as shit. Andrew Tate has to shave his hair, and Tim Pool has to hide his. And I say, if you're bald, guys, just embrace it. Don't be scared. You got enough money, the women will like you for your money. Don't worry about your looks. I mean, even a turd like Donald Trump can get married 3 times and cheat on each one of those wives. So don't worry, there's hope for you if you're just worried about the poon. My Christ, people. But I think it's funny because that guy brings up a good point. I think the bald thing is affecting these men in power, like Jeff Bezos. Who else is bald? A lot of these assholes are bald. And I think the baldness has them so insecure that they're like, we got to go to space. I got to send in the military. I got to buy Twitter. People got to like me. They can't know I'm bald. And I say, listen, I don't have that problem, but I can be compassionate. I can be empathetic to it. Isn't that amazing how I don't have that problem, but I can be empathetic to them? And I can say, Tim Pool, just take off your fucking hat. Just look like a goof for a couple days and then shave your head. Get it nicely shaved up real good. Or maybe get like a Mike Tyson tattoo across the top of it. And then people won't be like, he's bald. They'll be like, holy shit, he's got a tattoo across his head. There's options, you know. But I think a lot of this stems from these guys' insecurity and fear because they're bald. You know, I'm sympathetic to the plight. But me, I ain't bald. I got hair like a motherfucker, all right? And I dye it and I do everything with it. And if it offends you and you go, your hair is pink, I laugh. Inside, I laugh. I think it's funny that you got triggered by a man's hair color. Because you're weak and insecure. And I'm the skibbity risma alpha beta. I love how people like buy into that. I think it's so funny. It's adorable. It's adorable. This guy who's saying Trump for America, he loves the child predators. He's defending a guy who is releasing child predators into the wild. He's Senator Ghislaine, wished her well, and he was best friends with Epstein. So it's good to know. Thanks for pointing you out, because we can't stand when people say, oh, you're just a hater. I say, that goddamn right I am. I hate these child predators and everyone who protects them, okay? So we hate you. Stop protecting the predators. Let's start thinking about the victims. All right, let's get into this audio. This is Donald Trump. Oh, by the way, when you see DJT, he signs it sometimes. Where's my QAnon shaman, whatever his name is? QAnon shaman, is that his name? Where's my people thinking like that? Put on your tinfoil hat. DJT stands for Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump. Huh? What happened to all the conspiracy theories and the election was fake and all that stuff? You guys used to be cool. You guys are lames now. Everyone's like, I trust the government and the election went fine. No more conspiracy theories for you, drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. I'm going to play this Donald Trump for you, but I just want to instigate a little more because you guys are such losers now, okay? You guys used to have letter conspiracies. And you guys used to go nuts over everything and think nothing was fair and the government was out to get you. And now the government's sending the military into your cities and you're like, I trust them. Gee golly willikers, I think all is fine. Oh, R, how's it feel to be a beta, huh? In my live stream. I love pulling the most petty shit on these people because they're simps. You guys are simps. You guys simps. You wish you were on the Lolita Express being a top boy. You guys gotta get out of this alpha skibbity risma universe. I'm telling you. This is why I say I'm your vibe coach, okay? 20 years in the Marines. What does that say? That you're a moron? Jesus Christ. Like seriously, 20 years in the Marines and you say stuff like that? Bud, are you not around people daily? Because you need, this is why I'm your vibe coach. You need to step your game up, all right? It was sad, man. It's sad. Oh, by the way, if you are in the military, like a lot of my family is and was, I showed you guys my grandfather's flag the other day, do not follow illegal orders, okay? Okay? Now let's listen to your dictator-in-chief. Hold on. It's loading. What the?
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him, freedom. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator.
And you know what the funny thing is there was that Jubilee, I hate that stupid channel, where wasn't that one guy like admitting this stuff? Like, so these people here, dictator, that's always a good one, Chief. There are people that just want a dictator. So he is right. Just like when he also called his MAGA base stupid and weak, he's right on this one. There are people that want a dictator. They don't care. That remember when this country was founded and a king was like, I decree by royal authority that you have to do the Stamp Act tax, and people were like, hell no, we won't go. You know, we're not going to take it. No taxation without representation. Now, a lot of you that kindled spirit of America, your "Don't Tread on Me" shirt you should do the "Don't" cover it up and just say "Tread on me," because now this dude has not only put tariffs on you, which is a tax on you, he taxed you without your representation, but now he's invading your cities. And a lot of you are in the chat talking about liberal tears this and cry harder or Trump won or MAGA or 2028, and you're just proving that like you're not American at all. You're the antithesis of what this country stood for. And like literally from what it was founded on. We were founded on a bunch of people throwing the king's tea into the harbor. Nowadays, you'd be saying, well, I wish they would just protest the proper way and not destroy Capitol. You guys have gotten soft. I'm telling you, this MAGA base has gotten so soft. You guys used to have shamans and conspiracies and election rigs and all this stuff. And now look at you. You're a bunch of, I trust the government, will sit quietly. Yes, sir, may I have another? So he's right. Some of you do want a dictator. And I'm going to be here every day, every weekday. Hit subscribe and notification bell. And I'm going to be here saying, fuck you. We're not going to take it. In the wise words of George Jefferson. He was one of the founding fathers, right? Herbie Hancock. It was Herbie Hancock. He said, we're not going to take it. No, we're not going to take it, as he rode across the Delaware. And he said, anymore. So there's your history lesson. Todd Reynolds, if you're a racist, homophobe, misogynist, you should unsubscribe. If you're any of those, don't subscribe and leave the chat. Get out of here. Go to your Ben Shapiro hypothetical. If my house was underwater, I would just sell it to Aquaman. Go. Leave.
I don't like a dictator.
Oh, Trump doesn't even like a dictator. Let's see. Is that truthful? We got to measure now. Is that truthful? Because I'm pretty sure he said Kim Jong-il was like his best friend. He just invited Putin over for a sleepover. Smoochy on the poo-poo. So I'm pretty sure he does like a dictator.
I'm not a dictator.
I think we're going to hear him announce that he's going to send the American military into an American city next.
I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
Does anybody know if there's a quote of Noam Chomsky anywhere saying, I'm a man with great common sense and a smart person? We should put that on a t-shirt. A man with great common sense and smart person. And then we'll put this photo. I should have done this as the thumbnail. Great common sense, smart person. Or better yet, I could have done it with the Epstein photo. Great common sense, smart person. Oh, shit. I can't believe you guys like Donald Trump. He's the biggest loser, and not in like the TV show way. And there's people in here like, I love him. I'll buy a plate with his head on it. I'll buy a non-fungible totem with his head on somebody else's body, on a real man's body. You guys are sad. He's way more wealthy than you. Oh yeah, Kenny Bell. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Again, showing off. Kenny Bell, you are a person with great common sense and a smart person. There was another Wall Street Journal video that I shared in my community about how much Trump is profiting off of the presidency. That's like for all you guys who freak out, who have your fascist tears, that I got to get a mug that says fascist tears. You heard that here first. I'm making that my merch. It's going to say fascist tears, okay? You got Chief, CJ, I know you guys are still here. You heard it here first. That's our merch. We're doing that. Hey, what's up, E-Baggy? All right, see you later, Mike. Hopefully the authoritarian fascist regime affects you enough where you start to have empathy for others and don't come back. We're going to make that our merch. Fascist tears. That's what we're going to do. Emoluments, what? Yeah, well, that's the other thing. That's what I was going to say. All the people that cried about Joe Biden and his auto pen. I was like, imagine if Joe Biden in his last year of presidency opened up an auto pen shop and then like sold auto pens on the White House lawn. Could you imagine that? Imagine if he was openly selling. I always say that him and Hunter should have opened a Hunter's laptop, used laptop store and done it while he was president. Because these people would be singing a different tune. You know what I mean? I would be singing the same one. The president shouldn't be profiting off of the highest public servant seat in the land. So my story wouldn't change, but theirs would. Theirs would. And it's just funny. It's weird. Michael O, he'd rather leave than debate at this point. I don't know who we're talking about. Okay, so in case you didn't hear, when I got out of work today, we're going to get to this. I promise you guys. I promise we're going to get to this because it saves us money as taxpayers to house the homeless than it does to send in the American military to American cities. I can't believe there's people fucking like for this, you know? And if we're going to do it, let's send them to the red cities because I know there are some dirty, dirty red cities, okay? There are that are filthy, uneducated, crime-ridden. So let's see if he sends the military there. Or is it just political opponents and happening to be where there's a lot of black politicians? Racist? Racist much? But in case you didn't hear, Donald Trump said, Supreme Court who? I don't give a shit about the Supreme Court. I'm writing a presidential post-it note, an executive order that says burning the flag now is illegal. Even though the Supreme Court has already settled this 5-4, and they determined that that is your right as free speech. It's surreal. Here are your privileges, as George Carlin called them, being eroded in front of you. I mean, he already got rid of due process. Burn the flag is a big one. Oh, hold on. And the turds that are around him, whoever's the next administration, once we get out of this regime, lock all these people up. These people are criminal.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning.
Just that guy's voice makes me want to, fart in his general direction. Just that guy's voice. This next executive order, sir. It's like, you fucking brown noser. I can see the brown, even though it's potato vision. This video is so bad. I can see all the brown on your nose. You absolute turd burglar.
Charges your attorney general.
He charges your attorney general. It's just a bunch of brown noses. That's it. He's surrounded by X-Men. Remember when he was doing the meetings with Elon and everyone had to take their time to thank him for being the best guy ever in the world? Jesus Christ, this is exhausting. And this is the president. This is America today. This is insane. If you watch the news, which I pray you don't, just read about it and find sources. But if you watch the lamestream media, they're trying to normalize. They're acting normal. The reason that I'm not is because this isn't normal. This is anti-American.
Listen to this. This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags.
Yeah, it's just been a viral trend on TikTok, which the White House is on, by the way. White House is on TikTok. So all those fears about the Chinese government getting your information, I guess the White House doesn't care. But yeah, that's the biggest trend on TikTok right now, right? It's on the front page of all social media, flag burning.
Through a very sad court, I guess it was
a sad court.
5-4 decision.
A 5-4 a very sad court. You just called the Supreme Court. I will not contend that. It is a very sad court. Did you see Bill Kavanaugh or Brett Kavanaugh, whatever, that dude, when he was crying about drinking beers with Hoser or whoever he was drinking them with? It's a very sad court. I don't contest that, but my Christ, what he's about to do is anti-American.
They called it freedom of speech, but when you burn the American...
They called it freedom of speech, but he's like, but what I say should go, like somebody said in the chat, King Trump. Oh, hold on, I'm missing stuff. Somebody, hold on. Crush Dice is here. Good to see you. Would you sneak in? Crush Dice says, I'll buy some merch. Let's go. What's up? Sub, share, and hit that thumbs up button. Good to see you, Crush Dice. How's your day going? How's it going down in Dirty Jers? I love the community we have here, by the way. Loosey Goosey, I sub just for you, e-begging. Oh, e-begging, that's cool of you. But Loosey Goosey and Crush Dice, let me explain something. We'll play some more of this fascist turd in a minute. We got to build a community. As a labor organizer, I realized one of the most important things is building a community, having a network of people. And now it's starting to look more important than ever with what is going on in our country. And I love having this community here. CJ said, he don't block you, I do. That's right. I got mods, which that's cool. And thank you to the mods, Chief, CJ, Bandito, Soulless. We gotta get Crush Dice as a mod. But Loosey Goosey, Crush Dice, I started doing this over a year ago, going live every single weekday. We joke about the news, but at the same time, we have built a community, which is a radical thing. That's what America used to kind of pride itself in. You used to hear stuff like melting pot and, you know, having communities and being strong with your communities and loving your neighbor and, you know, all those radical left ideas. But that's what we're trying to do here. That's also why I have the Discord link, which it might not be good right now. I know Michael, let me know, it might not be. Chris Passmore, it's a very small community. That's right. And guess what, Chris? It started even smaller. I was at one point at 300 subs doing this to nobody. But whether it's me and one other person, whether it's me and 4,000 people, whether it's me and 1 million people, the community here doesn't believe in a king, wants people to have healthcare paid for by their taxes, preferably by billionaires' taxes. We tax billionaires into extinction. We don't want people having medical debt, school debt. We want our country, when we say we want our country to be good, we mean no kids going hungry. 1 in 5, for every homeless person, there's 5 empty houses. Give those houses to the homeless people. No homeless, no hungry kids. 1 in 5 kids in America go hungry every night, food insecure. We believe in a living wage. I'm radical here. I say $66 an hour, minimum wage. Minimum wage by FDR was created so you could have a decent living, not a bare subsistence level of living. Those are his words. Go read his speeches. So again, if you're going to try to, you know, make fun of that it's small or, you know, the community isn't as big as Mr. B, like, I love this community. It don't matter what it, you know, if it's 20 people, 2,000 people. The people we have here are good people pushing for a better place to live, pushing for everyone to get up, not just Elon Musk to rule over you and build Tesla towns. You know, and we need those minded people. You might call it an echo chamber, but I say, hey, there's people in here that don't even disagree with me and will still have conversations. And that's how you push things forward. And I'm really, really humbled and grateful for that because I love this fucking community. Loosey Goosey, we still got federal minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. I'm ready for a change. Yup. New Hampshire still pays people $7.25 an hour. Just talked to a friend of mine who said, why do you think I work in Massachusetts? Because the pay there is $7.25. That's criminal. Never mind absurd, never mind any other adjective. That's criminal. These politicians have given themselves, I don't know, 2-3 raises when they're living on 6 figures a year, and they will not move the minimum wage since 2000. My mother was protesting the minimum wage before she died, and she's died decades ago. So this is what I mean. This is obscene, and the more of us here that can push for it or organize or get involved or speak out or not normalize this crap, the better. So I'm glad. Donnie R, are you trans? I am not, but why do you ask? I love my trans community. I love my trans friends. It was 3:35 when I started work. Housing the homeless doesn't magically make them good, productive citizens. Oh, you'd be surprised. Would you like to learn some history? Would you? I could teach you. I got the book right here if you'd like to learn about the history of our country. Because if we have people that are going to mouth off when they don't even know, That's the worst part is like people, this is why they like Trump, because he just says shit and then he's like, I'm obviously the smartest guy. You heard him. He said, I'm common sense, I'm smart. So what I say is true. He's like a Joe Roganite. You know, these people that just think, well, I thought it hard enough. Of course it's true. When factually, historically, they're completely wrong. If you want to turn to page, what is it, 69 in your books? Everybody have your book? Everybody got your book? In 2005, Utah launched its war on homelessness, not, as so often, with tasers and pepper spray, but by attacking the problem at the root. The goal, to get all the state's homeless off the street. The strategy, free apartments. Pendleton started with the 17 most abject street sleepers he could find. 2 years later, after he had all got them a place to live, he progressively expanded the program. Criminal records, hopeless addictions, towering debts, none of it mattered. In Utah, you had a roof over your head and it became right. And became a right. The program had been a resounding success. While in neighboring Wyoming, the number of people living on the streets soared by 213%. Utah saw a 74% decline in chronic homelessness, and all of this in an ultra-conservative state. The Tea Party had a big following in Utah for years, and Lloyd Pendleton isn't exactly a lefty. Quote, I grew up on I grew up on a ranch where you learn to work hard, he remembers. I used to tell all the homeless to get a job because that's what I thought they needed. The former executive changed his tune when he heard the full financial story at a conference. Giving away free housing, it turned out, was actually a windfall for the state budget. State economists calculated that a drifter living on the street cost the government $16,670 a year for social services, police, courts, etc. An apartment plus professional counseling, by contrast, cost a modest $11,000. The numbers are clear. Today, Utah is on course to eliminate chronic homelessness entirely, making it the first state in the U.S. to successfully address the problem, all while saving a fortune. Now, if they just weren't productive members, why would homelessness stop? Your theory has no basis in reality. You're just cruel. You're just somebody who enjoys the suffering of others. You think if there's homeless people, my position looks good. And it's a shitty take. That's why I say I'm officially YouTube's vibe coach. And I'm trying to teach you that your vibes are all off. Let's listen to the rest of President Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump.
American flag, it incites riots at levels that...
He's saying burning a flag incites riots. Okay. Any stats to back this up?
we've never seen before. People go crazy.
People go crazy. It's like when they said chicken jockey at the Minecraft movie. It's just like that.
What the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning.
I don't know who that is talking, but he just sounds like he's gargling turds.
And then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment.
The rest is gibberish because it doesn't matter. What he's saying is you're going to executive order over a Supreme Court ruling. Now, when I look that up, because I was like, is there precedent for this? Are there a lot of, wait, hold on, I swear to God I had it. Yeah, I was like, are there a lot of presidents who have done this? And the only examples outside of Trump were Franklin Roosevelt and the New Deal, where he was trying to do the National Emergency Council, and then Abraham Lincoln and Habeas Corpus, they said it's not an executive order. This is unprecedented. By this guy. You worship this guy. If you're a maggot, you're worshiping this dude who's protecting the Epstein files because he's in them, and who let Ghislaine Maxwell. I was going to play audio from one of their victims, but it's too much. I can't tolerate it. But you could go watch it for yourself. Sarah Ransom, I forget her name. But go look up the Epstein victims if you really care about the list, all you maggots who were demanding the list. I think you just wanted it because you thought there were Democrats in there. You had no care for our communities, what these people had done, the victims, none of that. You guys are rubbish because you're still standing up for this one. This is the one place I draw the line. You know what I mean? Because once you start hurting the kids and then defending the people who hurt the kids, moving them to prisons with no walls, absolute garbage people. Unredeemable. They should be in jail. All of them. All of them should be in prison. So anyways, the news story, Newsweek, down below. this turd, executive ordering that now flag burning can be investigated as a crime. Even though, again, the Supreme Court, what about your free speech? All you guys have free speech. All you constitutionalists. All you people who are like, masks are tyranny. Now he's sending the military and saying something that the Supreme Court decided is no longer your free speech. Oh, do you think it stops here? Oh, wait. That's it. I figured it out. You think it stops here with the stuff that you don't care about, right? You think that's how this goes? Is that what I'm speaking to you? You maggot that thinks like, oh, well, you know what? I don't care. I'll never burn an American flag. He'll stop there. He won't come after me. Oh, you just wait. Mark this day in the year of our Lord 2025. Mark this day. You're not teaching anyone anything, Lorena York. Why don't you go do a live stream and you teach some people something? Get out of here. Crush dice. 5 coach. Crush dice. If you chat again. Oh shit. I was not with the chat. Sorry. Old fascist cube told me to get out of here. I love it. But Crush Dice, sorry, my chat was frozen. I didn't realize that. Crush Dice, if you chat again, hopefully you should have the old blue badge mark, the mark of the beast, the mark of the leftist. Why wouldn't people be looked into for burning our nation's flag, Aaron S.? I'm glad you asked. Here's a teaching moment, Lorena Bobbitt, or whatever your name was. Because the Supreme Court back in the 70s decided that it was protected free speech. Is that a good enough answer? Or you, like Trump, think, I don't care what the Supreme Court decided? Did Crush leave? I hope Crush didn't leave. I didn't even get to say thank you for the super trap. Oh, there she is. Yes. There it is. When? Oh, well, here. Aaron, I'm glad you're asking questions. You're asking the right ones. Link down below to the Newsweek article where it goes into that, and I will read some of it for you. New executive order signed by President Donald Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, Trump, Monday will allow for the prosecution of people involved in the burning of the American flag. This is in direct opposition to a precedent set by the Supreme Court in the Texas versus Johnson case in 1989. Sorry, I thought it was the 70s. 1989. You learned something, Lorena Bobbitt. Is she still here? Lorena Bobbitt, who said I'm not teaching anyone anything? I just learned something. I'm teaching myself. 1989, that deemed the action of an act of, quote, symbolic speech. The executive order would create a penalty of 1 year in jail, Trump said during a press conference in the Oval Office. Newsweek reached out to the Supreme Court for comment. It doesn't look like they've said anything. Why it matters. The executive order signed by Trump Monday is in opposition with a legal precedent set by the Supreme Court in 1989. It reached a 5-4 decision in Texas versus Johnson. Justice William Brennan wrote that the government could not prohibit excessive conduct merely because society found it offensive. Much like when George Carlin was arrested for the 7 words you can't say on television, or Lenny Bruce, before him, when they were arrested for obscenities. Not because they were doing it, on national TV, but because they were doing it in these private comedy clubs. And we've set precedents where you can swear in a comedy club. But I guess some of these maggots are like, let's go back to the days where if you say fuck, you go to jail. It's good to know your history, folks. Really. It's good to know how we got here. I don't know how else to say that. A draft dodger. That's him. Old draft dodger. Old bone Spurs in chief. Gotta stop trusting that dusty old orange. He's worse than senile. So Aaron, I don't know if you're still here, but Aaron, I hope that answers it. And if you'd like to read more, link down below. Everything I plan on talking about, I link down below. There's Lorena. You don't know your history. You talk about draft dodging, yet you've never served yourself. Yes, because when you serve, that means you qualify as knowing history. Love to see that you were obviously fucking not on your meds. Did you guys see this? Did you notice, if you watch any of the clips, I didn't link these down below. I'm just getting them off Reddit. So if you go on Reddit, you can see when Trump's talking, he's hiding his hands below his desk. And then when he does do this thing, and it's really weird, but I don't know many old people, but that can't be good, right? Like that bruise looks really bad. Really bad. Really bad. It's weird. All right. And that's the other thing that I was saying about this. If you're going to make flag burning illegal, this should be considered worse. If the American flag has to get that close to Kid Rock's taint, you know, I would assume at this point the flag would rather be burned. Like, this flag is right now I can hear it. It's going, please put me in the sparklers, please burn me, burn me. it's going, please end my suffering. His sweat smells like a can of old corn beans. Oh my God, help, help. It's going, the hat looks stupid. So if you're gonna make it illegal to burn a flag, it should be illegal to wear a flag like this, especially if you're him. The flag is just begging. He's like, please, have a Michael Jackson Pepsi commercial incident. Please, please right now. Please, I'll do anything. The flag is begging for it. Holy shit. So just make that illegal. Hold on. Somebody said something in the Kalilo Malohi. Hey, are you Hawaiian? I don't even think that's Hawaiian, but aloha if you are. Good to have you. Hit subscribe and notification bell if you are my Hawaiian brethren. Chumpreem Pedo gonna join Hulk Hogan Down Under, brother. Great comment. Please help me with it. Smells like cheese and sadness. Please help me. It smells like cheese and sadness. Please. Oh, holy shit. Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh. Yeah, my job is to teach you bootlickers that your vibes are all off. That's my job. Wait. KT Liz, a lot of people in here need a hug. They do. Kid Rock doesn't love America. He just likes to capitalize off stupid people. You're from Hawaii, Fluffy Tora? I lived on Oahu for a couple of years. I love Hawaii. Love Hawaii. I got family from Lanai. Absolutely love. I'm so mad at Oprah and Mark Zuckerberg, what they're doing in Hawaii. So good. By the way, we go through memes in the beginning, and I usually try to ask people where you're from around the world. We got family from France, New Zealand, Tasmania, Serenity. What's up? I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're well. We got people all across America, especially the Pacific Northwest. That's where my heart is, even though I've never been there. Folks in Egypt. We got a lot of community members across the world, and I love it because, just to give you a reference, well, I've had Doreen on. She's in France, and we have people guest hosts. But also, we were talking about the cost of a Big Mac one time, and some of the family members, the community, are in Egypt, and they explained how much a Big Mac is in Egypt, which was just cool stuff to know. So, Lorena Bobbitt, when you're like, you don't learn anything, you don't teach people, we learned what the Big Mac cost in Egypt, which I thought was interesting. Wait, do we have someone from England? Our Prince Harry went, and so did our future king. Get your facts right. I don't know what that is pertaining to, but Toronto. What's up, Toronto? Love Canada. Oahu. Yeah, I love Oahu. I lived in Kaneohe. I don't know where everybody else is from, but wherever you are, I hope you're in this time of insanity. I hope you're finding joy in the little things. I always try to tell people, take some time out of the day. If you draw, if you sing, if you create, if you write, if you take photos, if you play video games, do a little something for you, okay? How's this not a good investment? What? Annapolis, Maryland. Oh, do we got some military in the house? I don't think that would be bragging about having the vaccine. What? I'm missing. Oh, shit, hold on. Oh, damn, it just started pouring here. That's crazy. It was like 100 degrees and now it's raining. Welcome to New England. All right, let's get to this story because this story is very important. I know we've been having fun. We've been roasting the maggots like Trump did. But this story is insanely important. Because both Democrats and Republicans weaponize the budget, or they always say, how are we going to afford it? But they don't say that when they're doing corporate bailouts, sending the military into our own cities, when they're, I'm trying to think what else is, creating bombs, when they're funding Israel, when they do a lot of things where they don't ask how we're going to afford it. When they just increased the debt by $5 trillion, they didn't say how we're going to afford it. They knew. They said we're going to tax poor people. And that's you. It doesn't matter. 6 figures a year. If you're not making over 10 million, you're part of going to be taxed. But for all those people who say stuff like that, well, the budget, well, this. Well, here's a great, great retort that they can't wiggle, worm, rat, sneak, snake out of, because we're going to get into how much it costs. And this goes the same for what I read to you from Rutger Bregman's book, Utopia for Realists. Buy it on eBay. Do not buy it on Amazon. Don't send Jeff Bezos to space unless he's going one-way mission. But in that book, it showed you, instead of criminalizing the homeless and it costing taxpayers 16 grand, they gave them homes and counseling, and it cost 11. It was a windfall of money, as that Tea Party dude said. And now we're going to take a look real quick at, here's just real quick. I remember somebody in the chat said, he's not criminalizing homelessness. I'm like, literally, I went over a story where he was driving to a golf course and called for the homeless to be destroyed and then arresting them, criminalizing homelessness. Never let this be normalized. These are the most vulnerable people in our society. My brother has been homeless for over a decade, and if you bullied him, I wouldn't go, oh, what a man, wow, what a man's man. What a real heroic person bullying somebody without a home. I would think you're a fucking loser. So remember, these are homeless people, These are not people who you want to write off as, even if they are drug addicts, have mental health issues. Like, those are solutions, or those are problems that we have solutions to in our society. Why would we want not to integrate them back into our society? Somehow, these wealthy coastal elites, Donald Trump, these Nepo babies, have convinced you that cruelty to fellow man is heroic, and it's not. Jesus says so. Jesus says so. Jesus says, like, you're a fucking loser if you think being cruel to other people is what I taught you. So just remember that. Now, it talks about, according to previous reporting, the National Guard deployments cost the U.S. government $530 per Guard member each day. Using that figure, Homestead estimated that it would cost just over $1.1 million a day. She added, the number of troops will likely grow. That number will cost us more. Do you know who's paying for that? You and me. That's our tax money, hard at work, invading our own cities. This is not normal. This is insane. Now, if we go to housing and urban development, there are about 5,600 people experiencing either sheltered or unsheltered homelessness in DC on a given night. Operating an affordable housing unit for each one of them, the data shows, cost $45 a day on average, meaning $256,000, which is 4.3 times less than the cost of Trump's military deployment. So when you hear him say, we got to clean up the streets, clean up crime, he's not doing that out of anything besides spite, fear, venge, to instill fear in other cities, trying to get people to submit and bend the knee, because it's not economical. It doesn't help. It doesn't stop the problem. It doesn't go to the root, as we had learned earlier. And it's costing, instead of $45.44 per person a day, it's costing us $530 a day per Guard. And he's only going to send more and more and more. And you don't hear any of these Republicans who are all budget conscious saying, well, how are we going to afford it? Well, it's easy. We don't. And we just house them. We just give them homes and counseling. And it will save us money. And it will hopefully curb the problem, like in Utah it did. So this is absolutely insane. They talked about cleaning over 70 encampments, federalizing the police, 600 people arrested. And again, for everybody who goes like, number one, if you're saying well, we criminalize the homeless and that will stop it, right? Because sending people to jail in America and prison in America usually stops the crime, right? That's why we just keep imprisoning more people. But if you really believe that, then why aren't we treating the CEOs of companies who their employees die because they didn't follow the rules? Why are they getting fines? Why aren't we putting CEOs and board members and companies who poison their people, who cut corners? Why aren't we putting them in jail if you believe it stops crime? Why don't we put those people in prison too to stop that kind of crime, like wage theft? It's the biggest theft in America. This is not up for debate. The biggest theft happening in America is not in DC, it's wage theft. Corporations is stealing money from your check in one way or another, but not paying you enough, not paying you overtime, not making a check on time, whatever it is. That is the biggest theft in America. And if we want to stop theft, right? If we want to stop this kind of crime, why are we putting them in prison? Or does it not work for rich people, just poor people, just the most vulnerable? Trump on Epstein's plane, that's right. Carter, sorry, it scrolled by, sorry. But yeah, and again, all of this, him sending all this, it's not only because he's a petty tyrant and, obviously wasn't hugged by his dad, and he feels some kind of inadequacy that he just can't compensate for no matter what he does, invites Putin over, praises Kim Jong-un, threatens Rosie O'Donnell, sends the military in, revokes our First Amendment rights, even though the Supreme Court deemed it that. All this stuff is just to distract. From what, folks? It's all to distract, because he knows he's in the file. Pam Blondie, Dan Vagina, Cash Money Patel, they all said, we're going to get the files. You elect us. We go in, we release the files. And now they're like, there's no files. There's no files. I was a perfect gentleman. Right. What happened to your conspiracy theories, MAGA? What happened to him? What happened to him? You used to be cool, man. You used to, come over, lava lamp, black light, tinfoil hat. We used to be cooking stuff up. Now you're like, oh, I'll trust my friends in the government. Fucking losers. Herbs. That's what we used to call people in the 90s. We go, you herb. All right. Mr. R, try again tomorrow. Thank you, Chief. So it's all to distract. That's it. Okay, so Trump has sought to conflate homelessness with criminality, suggesting that the nation's capital has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs, wild youth, drugged out maniacs, and homeless people. Donald Trump, just a couple weeks ago, was bragging that DC's crime was down 25%. It's on tape. We live in a time and era where everything's on tape. I was listening to it on tape the other day. He said, whoa, DC, I'm very proud. Its crime's down 25%. And now he's describing it like it was a new Stephen King horror movie. Give me a fucking break. Who's falling for this? If you are, goddamn, you need to get educated. But look at this. In a 2021 study, UCLA found that providing homeless people with targeted housing assistance reduced the probability of committing a crime by 80%. Well, look at that. If you've been a long time subscriber, hit the notification bell, family member, community member on this channel, you understand that the way you solve homelessness and crime is social programs. Make sure people have enough to eat, have a roof over their head, have a job, have some money. When people are starving, don't know where they're going to live, shit gets hectic. But look at that. Don't believe me. Listen to what UCLA said. Why do you think Donald Trump's going after education? He don't like this shit. He likes you dummies going, yeah, Donald Trump said roving mobs of wild people. It's like the Warriors. It's like the movie Warriors happening right now. He wants you thinking that. He don't want you reading. Arresting or ticketing people for sleeping outside makes homelessness worse. Waste taxpayer money simply does not work, said Jesse Rabinowitz of the National Homeless Law Center. The solution to homelessness is what? Housing and supports, not handcuffs and jails. And by the way, Jesus said that, Jesus did. For all the Republicans. I don't understand why anyone that's a Republican believes in Jesus. I don't think they believe in Jesus. But any Republican, they just use that as a weapon. It's like cops using a shield as a badge, or a badge as a shield. Republicans just use Jesus as a weapon against people because Jesus was like, yeah, love people. Give them if your enemy says, walk a mile with me, you go 2. If he says I'm thirsty, give him something to drink and make him a meal. Yeah, it was like what he said. So These people, man. These people. The National Alliance to End Homelessness. The proposal would effectively end funding. Oh, this is according to the National Alliance to End Homelessness. The proposal would effectively end funding of permanent support housing for 170,000 residents, potentially increase the number of homeless people in the U.S. by 36%. That is from, hold on, right here. But in addition to the crackdown, Trump admin regime is also pushing to eliminate funds for public housing. Look at that. Look at that. They're trying to make more crime. And as long as you're uneducated to this information, as long as you don't know this, you'll believe whatever they tell you. You know? Like, they'll just believe what he says. But once you're educated, once you know something, once you know your rights, you know where to stand your ground. Once you're educated, you know where to stand your ground. You go, that doesn't make sense. Economic anomaly or spiritually. So this was a very important article. Very, very important. By the way, other news, Kneecap, I got this from the BBC. Kneecap, I was so excited. I was going to reach out to them, see if they would come on the live stream when they came to Boston in October. And it turns out because of their court case, the Irish rap group Kneecap is canceling their U.S. tour for now. Hopefully after the court case and after they win, they will come back to Massachusetts. But if you're a Kneecap fan, I wanted to share that with you. John Crosby. It's really hard for me to tolerate people who look at people with addiction or mental health issues as less than human. But when you say, so what do you do with the crackheads? It's been explained. I've done it. Go back and watch the live. You give them counseling and housing, and that fixes. Just so you know, as a former addict and somebody who loves a lot of people who have had addictions and lost a lot of people, like very close friends, to addiction throughout my life, especially if you're in America and you're numb to this epidemic that we have here with fentanyl and oxy and all that. Maybe you just got to live in Ivory Tower and never had to experience this, but as someone who's buried many friends, family members, let me tell you, there's nothing more than they want to reintegrate. There is the addict who is not done being an addict. But once they do, and they all get there, they hit rock bottom. They want to reintegrate. But here in America, we've made it almost impossible to reintegrate, whether it be for-profit healthcare, which, by the way, can I just say this? We need the government to run our healthcare. And let me cut MAGA off before you go, yeah, you want the government to run it? They run the VA. They run the veterans' healthcare. We should have them run our healthcare too and pay for it with billionaires' taxes. But when you dehumanize people, and not making a joke, like I don't think you were making a joke. I can make a joke about crackheads, but when you talk about it in this context, I would just hope that later tonight you put on Michael Jackson's Man in the Mirror. During the entirety of the song, you sit and stare at yourself in the mirror, and you wonder what happened. What happened to you that made you so cold and ruthless to humans, to think that they are subhuman? But you give them counseling and housing, and it works. I pray for everybody who's dealing with addiction or has a loved one in addiction. I'm telling you, this is since I was in my teens, burying close friends who lost their battle with addiction. And as somebody who knows people who have come back and reintegrated to society from addiction, there is no worse pain. Well, there are a few other pains. I've lost loved ones to them taking their own life and things like that. But that is a pain unique, so unique, when you can hug somebody, but you know they're not there. So I pray for anybody who's, if you're an addict, there's help for you. And that's why I do this live stream. I joke all the time, but I'm also doing this in a way that we can get the word out, that it works to reintegrate people into society. You even saw Mr. Beast, once he healed all those people's eyes, he said the return on investment of this is so profitable. Why is the government doing this? And I said, oh, good for you, Mr. Beast. Now you're starting to ask the right questions. Why aren't we giving universal health care with our taxes like every other country has done to Americans? Because I wouldn't call it a return on investment, but just people not having to, not only be ill, but go into debt would be a good thing for our spirits and morality of the country. But yes, if you want to look at it just from a business aspect, those people can pay taxes again. It's so fucking crazy how callous people will become. So Kneecap. And then the other thing, I wanted to play this for you because really what a lot of this is distracting from this, the Epstein files. This is the Daily Beast podcast. This is Michael Wolff, who wrote Trump's book, Fire and Ice or whatever, a song, a Dance of Fire and Ice, a dance of turds and orange makeup. But he talks about what's in the Epstein files, and they're doing this daily because this is everything he's doing right now is to distract. You notice how Epstein files ain't been in the news? As long as he keeps doing crazy shit, it will stay out. And you got to wonder why. But here's Michael Wolff on the Daily Beast podcast.
So the question is, there's two questions. What are they going to get? And actually, a continuing question, never answered, is what is in these files? So why don't we just spend a few moments actually trying to parse that, because that's going to be germane to what Congress gets. So
build a website you love.
Oh, you mother. Hold on, there's an ad.
These files and let's do this in a broader sense.
Salute.
The material the government holds on Jeffrey Epstein.
Tia, thank you. Poverty exists not because we cannot feed the rich, but because we cannot, not because we cannot feed the poor, but because we cannot satisfy the rich. And have a good one, gaming. Peace.
Will consist of the following. There will be depositions supplied by the many women who have accused Epstein of sexual abuse. And most of that material has already been made public. Then there will be the FBI's own investigation of those women. And it's not all of those women; it's the women that they have chosen for whatever reason to investigate or vet. You might say. I don't mean to suggest that that investigate. They are looking for any issues with these women, but they are looking to further delve beyond their own depositions into what they might know, into what kind of witnesses they might make, But from the MAGA point of view, that aspect of this could be problematic because many of these, the FBI may have found issues with some of these women to challenge their credibility. So from the MAGA point of view, to complicate the story in any way is something that the administration, and a box that the administration does not want to open. The next aspect of this, which is to me one of the most interesting aspects, is the internal communications in the Justice Department about why they made the decision in 2019 to forsake the non-prosecution agreement.
So, because this goes on, but you should watch this. Daily Beast here on YouTube. Michael Wolff talks about the Epstein files. They're still covering it, and we should be too. It was promised. They should be allowing it. I'm an Alzheimer's nurse. I make over $65K a year, and I see the poverty every freaking day. Too, you should be making over six figures a year. Nurses are so underappreciated, and private equity decimates them. Again, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. In my community, I talked about how private equity, it stripped my industry, radio, for parts, and that's why radio really sucks now and everything's syndicated. But then they've gone to like Joann Fabrics and Red Lobster and Party City, and now private equity is going into the hospital and healthcare field, which is just making America even worse. All for rich people who just want more money. They're not worried about heat, rent, owning a house, egg prices. What could it cost, Michael? $50? It's just for their greed. They're insatiable. So that's a lot of the news today. There was a lot, folks. We had a lot of jokes. We had a lot of fun. And I hope you come back. Free Luigi. Insurance is always a racket. Buggle Magnum. That's a cool name, too. Into utility companies. Oh, Jesus. Buggle Magnum. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Come back. Let's have a talk about this, because I think, I think this is all worthy to bring to people's attention. I see the pain and suffering that these people have endured their entire lives, and the government is just screwing them over. And that's the thing. It's like the government knows how to do healthcare. They do it for the vets. They can do it for us using our own tax money. Israel shouldn't have universal healthcare before we do, that we're paying for. Our money shouldn't be sent on foreign wars before we get healthcare. And the government can do it, and they can do it right. They run the VA. I know Trump's gutting it right now, and laying off, I think I read 300,000 government employees. Like, how can you lay off 300,000 people and expect the job numbers to not be bad? But we got to push for this. So when people go, oh, you want the government to run it? Good luck. Well, they already do. What are you saying? The VA needs help? Great. Let's see what they're doing wrong at the VA, and let's make it better for all of its citizens. Crush Dice, Solidarity. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Amazing. Much love to you. CJ, Chief, hopefully you're still here. Solus, Bandito, all the mods. I'm so grateful for you guys. I really am. We'll be back at it tomorrow, guys. We will be back at it tomorrow. Chief, always good to see you. And don't forget, there's a Discord link down below. Michael, if you're still here, we're going to get it. We'll get it. I will post it in, again, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I'm your official YouTube vibe coach. You might not need a vibe coach, but some of these motherfuckers do. We joke about the news because the news is a joke every day. We do newsmentary every weekday. And I'll post the Discord in the community. So, Buggle Magnum, I hope you come back, all right? And KT Liz, good to see you back. Yeah, look out for people. Look out for people. In a time where the American military is invading American cities, go introduce yourself to your neighbors. You know, do something nice for someone. Hold the door open. Tell somebody you care. Ask somebody how they're doing. Just let's keep being kind in the face of this fascism. See you, Jay. Much love. Peace.